Good morning. It is currently 8:23 where we are. Welcome to Movie and a Hunt. I'm RJ.
And I'm Paige.
And today we're talking about 1988's Hellbound Hellraiser 2. That is a name.
Hellbound.
Actually, I'm going to be honest. I thought this movie was like maybe a couple years after the original. And then when they said last year, I was like, oh, wait, this movie came out a year after? Shit.
I guess it made a lot of money because it must have immediately gotten greenlit for a sequel.
I don't think it made Buju Bucks money. Like, it didn't make like Nightmare on Elm Street money is what I'd say. Oh, by the way, speaking of Nightmare on Elm Street, this trailer gave me strong Nightmare on Elm Street 3 vibes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I thought it was just me, and I was like, maybe because
town.
It's like around that time-ish, but no.
I feel like this movie probably got greenlit because A, it's Clive Barker, but B, I feel like every single company wanted to have one horror movie icon that can make money for them, because I feel like the 80s were the time where you could have like your definitive slasher and they would make you money. Everyone wanted their Freddy, everybody wanted their Jason, everyone just wanted that one, and they were like, oh, we could do it with the guy with the pins in his head.
I think you mentioned that maybe when we watched Nightmare 3 or something like that. You were like, that's basically what they were trying to do. And I guess it worked, right? I mean, we're still talking about Pinhead now. And they just got a movie, last year?
Yeah, but I feel like, like Freddy and Jason, if I say Freddy and Jason, you're like, yeah! And then, like, you can go into the movies. I feel like with Hellbound, which you're going to learn relatively quickly, it probably only had 2 movies to its name, and then the 3 and 4 sucked, and then 5 through the rest, until the most recent one, were all direct to DVD. He didn't have the staying power. He just got lucky to where his design was cool enough to where people could look at the last 2 movies and be like, yeah, we enjoy those.
I know that.
Yeah, we enjoyed that design. I've never seen the movie, but I've seen him.
I don't know how many people I have actually like talked about, horror characters before, and they're like, yeah, the guy with all the needles in his head. That Hellraiser, I think.
Pinhead?
Yeah, but that's how they describe it.
Needlehead?
They've never seen it, and they just know the character like I was before I saw these.
But on the other hand, everyone knows Michael.
Right.
Like, everyone knows the movie Michael belongs to. Everyone knows the movie Jason belongs to. Everyone knows the movie that Freddy belongs to. Leatherface is like toss up. Some people just know him as Leatherface. Other people are like, oh yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Man.
Yeah.
And then everyone knows where Ghostface belongs to.
Yeah.
Everyone knows in reality, I feel like Ghostface is the reversed Pinhead.
Elaborate.
Because no one knows who if you go and talk to a normal person, they don't know who Ghostface is. They call him like the Scream Man.
Always. It's always like, oh yeah, the Scream guy. Yeah, the Scream guy.
Yeah. So I feel like he's reverse Pinhead because everyone knows Pinhead is just, oh, it's Pinhead. And you're like, what movie? I don't know, from Pinhead? Like, and then with Scream, it's like, oh yeah, Scream guy. And they're like, what's the name of the guy? Scream, he's the Scream guy.
That's so true. I didn't even think of that. That's a good point.
Speaking of that, be prepared at some time in the future for a quick detour on our season of monsters to deal with the monster movie that is Kirby's Return.
So we just watched the trailer for Hellbound Hellraiser 2. It was good. Like you said, it did remind me of Nightmare, like a Nightmare trailer. Other than that, any other thoughts?
I feel as though this is probably going to be like a question more for you. So the last movie we watched, you were very much like it was boring as sin. I feel like this trailer, it kind of is just like, so it's because shit's gonna happen, stuff is hitting the fan in this 1 minute time frame.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. When she watches this, she's gonna be like, stuff is happening. I'm in.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's going to be action happening. There's going to be some crazy, gnarly stuff. And I hope it doesn't let me down. I hope.
Your cat is going crazy on itself right now.
Oh, yeah, she's cleaning herself.
Oh, I can just see that in my camera. All right, we will see you in. I don't remember how long this movie is. Shit.
Well, for them, we'll see him in a couple of seconds.
In exactly 5 seconds. Cue the tape. We are back, and now welcome to an hour of Paige and RJ trying to figure this shit out.
I mean, that's us most of the time, but I think this is a special case where I don't know. This is gonna be a difficult one, but we're gonna try to do it right.
Do you know, like, the best way I can describe it is, like, you know when we watched Silent Hill and we were like, okay, how much longer do we have? Now, that's how we were 20 minutes into this movie.
I feel like we checked the time minimum 7 times.
I think you're giving us some credit. I think it was, like, over 10 at least.
Minimum.
True. I was just, but at least for like Silent Hill, I was like, okay, this shit's stupid, and there was like a character I can like be like, yeah. This time I was just like, I just needed to end so I can record the episode and continue my day. I just need this to be over.
I was legitimately.
I don't give a shit what's going on. There's 2 minutes of just random shots. There's 2 minutes of like gauze going around a chick's arm. Okay, that's nice. Can we not cut that to like 20 seconds, please?
I legitimately was falling asleep about 2/3 into the movie.
I was surfing the internet for 2/3 of the movie.
My hand was on my face and I was like.
The only thing I remember about this movie isn't the movie. It was that at one point I clicked on both of our faces to see what we looked like. I had my hand on my face and my glasses were slightly askewed because of that, so I just looked done. I look over to yours and your eyes roll right as I look over. This was around 10 minutes before we reached the halfway point of the movie.
God. All right, so clearly we're back from watching the movie. It's very fresh in our mind. Start us off.
It's fresh but forgotten.
I think that's the title of the episode. Bingo. It writes itself, baby.
I just watched it 5 minutes ago. What happened? Don't fucking know. A chick screamed for around an hour and a half, I guess.
All right, start us off. How did this movie... Again, fresh but forgotten. I don't remember.
This is how forgotten it was. It begins with Pinhead opening the box and getting pulled in. Remember that?
Oh, yes. Okay, so we get backstory.
Fresh but forgotten.
We only get backstory on Pinhead. He's like a British explorer man, I'm guessing. And he opens the box and that's it. Right? And then we get a recap of the first fucking movie.
The ending of the movie.
For the first, 10 minutes or so?
Well, okay, false. They try to intersperse it because, like, we can't be a Naruto episode where we, like, spend 15 minutes recapping the last episode and then we have, like, 6 minutes of new content. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to take the last 20 minutes, put it in 4 minutes, which makes the last 20 minutes of the following movie useless. And then we're going to interlace it with, like, 30 seconds of new stuff and then put in the old stuff as well.
So this is what I hate. I feel like sometimes we should watch the second movie first because it's like, you know what? They're probably going to tell us about the first movie. We didn't have to watch the first movie last time. We could have just watched this and bada boom, we would have got everything. Nothing was missed.
I don't even think Frank's voice was the same as the last movie.
Oh, I don't think so either. It did.
I heard it. I'm like,
it didn't sound like it.
That,
they had like
Frank?
one new shot for the quote unquote past, and it was like at the wedding, and he's like making that weird face. He's like, he's like, Looking at the bride, he's like,
They were like, listen, you need to look ominous. You have to look like you just fucked her the night before, and you're like, I want to fuck her again. That's what you got to do.
I hope that's not the face that most people make when they're looking at somebody like that, because that is creepy.
Do you know, like, when you're in a group photo and everyone's trying to act normal, and then there's that one person who knows they're in a group photo, so they, like, look straight at the camera? That was Frank. And then, like, the entire time they were like, is he staring at Kirsty or is he staring at,
Julia.
Donna?
Julia! Where the fuck did you get Donna?
I don't know. She's like a Donna.
That's fair. She does look like a Donna.
If she was American, it would be Donna.
Yes.
Julia is not British enough. Sorry, Donna's not British enough. Either way, she wakes up. Our girl, I guess her and her now ex-boyfriend, like, passed out 5 minutes after leaving the dumpster yard. Because she was still dirty, still in the same clothes, and they were like, we let your boyfriend go, but you gotta stay.
Because I have a feeling that his story, because he's there, they kept saying, wow, he told a wild story. So I have a feeling he's like, oh fuck, I'm in a nut house. I need to spin this in a way where it's all her fault. So that's probably what happened.
I like how the entire last movie we were like, God, he's so useless. At the beginning of this movie, like, yeah, he's useless. We got rid of him.
Yeah, we got the picture.
She basically is like, this is what happened. And I think the oddest thing, she's like, where am I? And I'm like, bitch, you were here like maybe 5 hours ago.
Yeah, because it's I think it's the same place. I mean,
fucking room.
Like, stage wise, yes, it's the same room, but I don't know, story wise.
Do you need the video of the flower blossoming to remember what happened?
That's the only place. That's the only thing that gets you to remember this place. Okay.
She's basically just like, that bitch Julia, which I was like, you know what? This is in line with the book from the last. This feels like more of a sequel to the book than it does to the last movie, because the minute she's like, that fucking little bitch Julia, I'm like, yep, this is okay. We've leveled up. We're spiteful. We're like the book level spiteful. Okay. Let's just. Okay, so we're gonna sound discombobulated, but that is the first 40 minutes of this movie.
Yes.
It's all over the place, but nothing happens.
Right. So if we're missing anything, we really aren't. Be truthful. Like, nothing happened in the first 40 to 45 minutes of this movie, and this movie is an hour and 40 minutes long. So technically, it's an hour movie.
And some would say in that next hour, only 20 minutes is worth.
Again, it's just like the first movie. It's just like it.
I think the first movie... Here's the thing. With the first movie, if you didn't skip it, I feel like you would lose a few things here and there. This movie, if you skip it, I'm like, I don't understand. I don't think you would miss anything.
Yeah.
At some point, I think I mentioned halfway, like, I think at the 40-minute point, where we reached the breaking point. That was our breaking point, 40 minutes in. I was like, is this going to be the first movie we don't finish and then just record about how much it sucks?
Well, good news, everybody. We finished the movie. So
I hope you realize the next two are way worse than this.
fantastic. Is it like...
But they're American.
Is it like worse in the way of Jason Goes to New York? Like, just absolutely ridiculous?
Yes.
Okay, then I can live with that.
Yes.
Because those are just weird and fucking crazy. This was just...
Yeah.
I was literally falling
They go
asleep.
very 90s.
Okay, that's fine.
You're going to be like, oh, I feel like I'm in the 90s.
That's fine.
Either way, we get introduced to a doctor.
Oh.
Well, multiple doctors. We get a throwaway doctor.
Kyle?
Who's just like, no, not Kyle. Oh. Kyle has some purpose. He's there to look like a human demogoblin.
It's not the cop.
I'm sorry. No, not the cop. Okay, it's the guy that when she wakes up, he's just sitting there looking at her menacingly.
That's the
like,
cop.
You're awake.
That's the cop.
Oh, that's the
Yeah,
cop.
it's a detective.
Does he die?
No, he just leaves.
Okay, good. I was like, there was one moment where I was probably on the internet for 20 minutes, and I was like, I'm listening to it. I can pretty much get what's the fuck's going on right now.
The detective is like, yeah, you crazy bitch, and then he gets a call, and the detective, the cops at the house are like, hey, there's this crazy mattress. What the fuck do we do with it?
There's dead bodies, yo.
Yeah. And the detective's like, I'll go and check it out, whatever. And he dips, and he's like, okay, bye.
The best way I could, if anyone asked me to describe this movie, I would say weird editing. Because there is shit. Like, in the last movie, stuff was cut, and you can be like, yeah, it was cut, but, like, I can't tell editing-wise it was 100% cut. There is shit in this movie that, like, they cut to the end of a conversation, and you're like, where's the first 80% of this shit?
There was a lot of shots like that, too. And even just transitions shots, they were very, very choppy.
Yep.
Sometimes
It felt like a Family Guy cutaway.
Yeah, like I didn't.
the time.
I usually don't have an issue with heavy chopping, but it was a little too distracting in this film.
I think the biggest offender when I was watching it was the whole evil queen Snow White conversation. I was like, where the fuck did this come from?
Well, because what's her face? What's the main chick's name?
Kirsty.
Kirsty says, like, oh, doctor or the detective. Yeah, I think she's talking to the detective. She's like, all of those fairy tales are true, even the bad ones. So she says it right off the bat that this is supposed to be like some sort of fucking fairy tale, which is news to me.
But how does that fit in the later conversation?
Because
like when they meet again.
Because evil stepmother, evil queen, Snow White. It's a fairy tale.
Yes, but why is that a line?
I don't fucking know. They're trying to be clever or some shit. I don't know, man.
The cleverness comes from not spelling it out. That's what's clever. Is you don't spell it out. You leave the viewer
Correct. I feel like maybe Clive learns that a little later with Candyman, but
oh god, yeah.
This was the trial run, man. Is he involved?
Well, he wasn't even the director. He was just he advised the story.
I know. Still involved with the writing.
He was still involved, but he wasn't like a screenplay guy or anything.
No, but you're still involved. Is he involved in 3 and 4?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's why I say shit hits the fan, because it's just like
they're left to do whatever they want with their shit. Okay, so
by the way, this doctor is like I'm Freddy Krueger.
Yes.
Basically, this entire movie is Nightmare on Elm Street 3, the ripoff.
Yeah, and then you did tell me that Nightmare 3 came out
a year prior.
Right, so the same year as Hellraiser. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And they're like, ooh, we can do something with this. Let's put everyone into a psych ward. That's pretty much it.
The boiler room was where it sent over the top. I'm like, wow, we're just...
Oh, yeah.
We're doing the boiler room, okay. Basically, that's all that fucking happens for the first, 25 minutes.
Yeah, the doctor's insane. When we are introduced to him, he's performing some sort of lobotomy procedure on this chick. He goes down to the maintenance level, which is below the basement, which is, hell on earth. He keeps these certain people there to torture and do his little experiments on.
That's the name of the next movie.
What?
Hell on Earth.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah. And then, basically, he's like, the only noticeable... Because here's the thing. At this entire point, you see how, I'm going all over the place? That's what they do with interlacing the first movie into this shit. It's just conversation, shit from the first movie. And you're like, why are we here? Why am I watching the body transformation from the first movie again?
It's I get it. The effects were great, but this movie came out a year before this one. It's not like it came out 10 years before and we really need a recap for most people.
Yeah.
People who go see the sequels more than likely have seen the first one and they just saw it less than 12 months before this. So you don't need this at all.
And then... he's I think the only ominous thing is he's like, don't deliver the mattress. Don't deliver to the hospital. I want it at my house.
Yeah, I don't know how.
That's like the most ominous shit.
Yeah, I don't know how he cuts that deal with the cops. That makes absolutely no sense. But whatever. Of course, Kyle, which is his little lackey, his little helper, he overhears that conversation conveniently. And he goes to his house where he has the mattress and uses a mini screwdriver to stick it in the keyhole and then magically unlock his door.
Twist.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And then I think the only thing is we get to the house. The only part of the movie we were paying attention was when they were in the house and we were judging the house.
I felt
we were like, this is ugly.
I felt like
why are there 2 chairs there? That's not pleasing.
I felt like we were watching House Hunters. And we were like,
do you remember
the design, the layout of the house is workable, but it just needs to be upgraded.
Do you remember that time? We're going to go on a brief aside because like this movie has nothing fucking happening. Remember that time where we went on vacation and basically we would stay in the hotel room a good bit and all we watched was like It or Sell It. It was like it was the houses and we were just like, popcorn ceilings. I would never.
You wouldn't catch me with that.
Live this house.
It was a repeat of that, basically.
This man is wearing socks and sandals. You cannot entrust him with interior decoration. He can't even decorate himself correctly.
And speaking of an outfit, this doctor was wearing his 3-piece fucking suit with his pocket watch in his house.
In his dusty ass room.
It was filthy. It was a filthy room. He has the mattress.
He has probably the ugliest railing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's
for
like
a pair
this
of stairs. That thing was
fake
fucking ugly.
light wood, and then at the edges, it's like a plastic, like not to hit your fucking head on it or something. I don't know, man. Like maybe this is like a 1988 style, and then we're just really out of touch. I have a feeling that's probably what it is, but Jesus Christ.
My favorite part of that, I didn't know if you saw it, but as they're panning through the house, if you see the carpet, you can see it was like vacuumed 5 minutes ago because you can see all the vacuum streaks.
Oh, I didn't even know there was carpet. I was so distracted by the railing.
Carpet on the floor.
And the empty.
I was like, wow, they just vacuumed this shit.
The empty foyer. I didn't understand. His house was so barren.
The empty foyer. The dinner table with 4 chairs, but he has 2 more just in the corner for some apparent reason.
I'm like, okay, you usually keep the extra chairs in another room or whatever. Oh, you know what? Let's get past this. We're in his study where all of his shit is.
I don't want to.
Let's just do it.
The movie goes downhill after this.
We have to finish this scene because we both couldn't watch it with our own eyes.
Oh yeah, all we heard was noises.
We
were just like, I was like, okay, yeah, someone's getting killed.
So,
got it.
Doc here brings in one of his patients that he kept in the maintenance room. This poor guy who was delusional and he was seeing something on his body, like something was crawling on his body. And he puts him on the mattress. He takes the straitjacket off. This poor guy is still freaking out. And we get a glimpse for what he sees, and he sees maggots like crawling in his skin, and he has all these welts for him picking at it. It was really sad. Doc gives him a straight blade, and he goes to town trying to cut the bugs out of his skin. And it was really gross.
And then him and Julia wrestle on the ground a little bit.
Yeah, Julia comes out of the mattress and crawls this was such a long scene, bro.
This next like 10 minutes is long as shit.
And you're not exaggerating. I really think it was about 8 to 10 minutes. It was so bad.
Yeah. Also, supposedly the entire time Kyle's just hiding in the room.
Yeah, he's hiding behind this like really
this
thin curtain right in the corner that the guy is crawling to, and it's like, help me, please.
And then Julia's like, don't be scared of me. And it's like, okay.
And then she takes another 5 minutes to get up off the fucking ground, and that took forever.
Yeah, and onto the bed.
Yeah.
That crawls on
and then
the
to
bed.
stand up.
And then we cut to Julia in his white ass house looking at a mirror. And it's just like no blood on the floor.
There's like
None
a little speck
whatsoever.
where she's standing in that moment, and then like a convenient handprint on the wall, but everywhere else, no blood.
And then she punches the mirror and she's like, I'm cold.
And that's it.
And then she's proceeded to be given a bomb-ass suit that she looked great in.
With the gauze.
Yeah, with the gauze.
That was like a 5-minute rapping scene.
It was a 5-minute rapping scene followed by like a 4-minute awkward sex scene.
I was like, why? Why do these movies? I get it because it's all about desire and like, you know, sin or whatnot. But I don't need this. I don't need this in my life. I get it.
And the best part was it was never ending.
No.
Like it was like, okay, we're gonna cut now, right? And no, it's just like the hand went deeper, and you're like, oh my god,
Oh god,
can we
it
not?
was horrible.
You just put the gauze on her, dude.
You can't take it off now. The editing, let's just talk about it right now. The editing for this movie was like,
Is dog trash?
yes. They cut abruptly where they didn't need to, and then didn't cut where they needed to. I don't understand. I don't get it.
Movies like this made me realize where I'm like, maybe Silent Hill didn't have a lot of content to cut. Like maybe the 2 hours and 11 minutes worked.
No.
Because I'm pretty sure I could cut this shit down into like 72 minutes and I'd get the same effect.
Absolutely. I don't know, man. What happens next?
Meanwhile, while all this is happening, Kyle goes back to Kirsten. He's like, I saw some crazy shit, girl.
I believe you now. He's got like 3 of these puzzles,
She's
man.
like, I'm going to the house.
Like, there was a
to
guy.
beat that bitch up.
There was this guy, and he was eaten by this lady that came out of the mattress, man.
Mattress.
I believe your story.
Oh, we missed something. We missed something, which was probably probably the only good scary scene this movie has, where she wakes up and like looks over in the corner and she thinks she sees like her dad in hell.
Oh yeah, that was a good scene.
That was a good scene.
Yeah, so
That was a good scene.
she, I don't know if she hears it or something.
I think she sees it.
Okay, so someone's writing in blood on the wall across from her bed where she's sleeping, and the body's like slumped against the wall. It's a great scene, really well staged. It says, "Help me, I am in hell," right? Yeah.
In that something in that vein.
Yeah. And she's like, "Oh my god, my dad needs my help. I gotta go back."
And this begins the. So you remember how like. When we watched Texas Chainsaw 03, I was like this character's thing is like Patricia pukes. Like that's her character. She throws up every 5 minutes. She has a quota. Kirsty has a scream bloody murder every 5 minutes quota, I guess, because the entire way I can describe this movie is Kirsty screams at nothing.
Just every time she's just like, "Tiffany!" I don't want to yell at everyone's ear, but she's like, "Tiffany!" Ah, just always screaming and on like level 13 of the volume. I'm just like, girl, like everyone's talking with their inside voice. Follow, please. Follow in line.
I like how, like, Pinhead's like, we're not gonna fuck with Tiffany. She's kind of just here for the vibes and shit. Like, just let her do her
Like,
thing.
she's cool, man. She's an innocent. She just really likes puzzles. And guess what? She's good at this one. Like, props to you, Tiff.
And then, like, we just cut. Later on, we just cut to Kirsty, like, screaming in a labyrinth. And I'm like, this actually kind of fits her character at this point.
Right. So
And she's so bad at the labyrinth that she keeps, like, going in circles.
it's literally like 15 to 20 minutes where she's just running around. Just no idea where to go. And I'm like, girl, where's Tiff? Okay, yeah, by the way, there's...
And then she turns around, Tiffany's just there, like, you guys shut the fuck up, bitch.
So
I can hear you from the exit.
we were introduced to a character, a great value Patricia Arquette, named Tiffany. Like we said, Nightmare 3 came out a year before this movie, and they took a lot from that. At least we think so. This chick looks just like Patricia Arquette's like double or something like that. She doesn't speak, and she really likes puzzles. We find out her trauma later is, I'll just say it now, her mom brought her to this hospital for the doctor to help her because puzzles are like all she's doing. And I guess it takes over her life. And the doc kills her mom. And poor Tiffany is like, what, almost lobotomized or experimented on? Something like that.
She's basically, the way I took it was she was lobotomized enough to where she became mute.
Yes, but then she overcomes that later. So I didn't understand that.
Yeah. She says one word, and then we cut back to her like 10 minutes later, and she's like, we have to get out of here. Do you know what we're doing? We should go this way. And I'm like, how is she speaking full sentences now? What is this shit? Also, can we talk about how white everyone's teeth were in this movie?
Yes, everyone had veneers. It was extremely evident.
It was so white. I was just like, shit. It's even worse when like they're in their flesh suits, because you're like, those teeth are really white. Yeah.
All I see are white teeth,
white.
and I'm like, it's very distracting.
Either way, Kyle's like, yeah, I guess she's alive. Cool, I guess. And Kirsty's like, I'm gonna go and kill her. She doesn't deserve to live.
I mean, she's right.
She's right. And then Kyle's like, I'm coming with you. And I was like, oh, great, another useless boyfriend. Love this shit.
And then he stops Kirsty from leaving the room, and he's like, just 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. He goes out of frame for 2 seconds, and then comes back into frame. He's like, okay, let's go. And I'm like, what did he do off frame? Okay, that was really weird.
Either way, they get to the doctor's house. Kirsty does something. She's doing some shit. Oh, right. Forgot to mention. Julia has her skin back.
Yeah, so in the meantime,
she eats people and gets her skin and hair back.
From Kyle leaving the house to go to Kirsty to come back to the house, which has to be about maximum what, 4 hours, maybe?
Yeah.
We'll say about that. They have killed...
It was dark when he left. It was basically like 9 a.m. in the morning when he came back.
Right. So they have killed, I think it looked like 7 people.
Yeah.
In that amount of time.
And dear viewer/listener, when Julia got her skin back, can you guess what she did with the doctor?
Please, inform me.
They fuck some more.
I can't.
I think the best part was he takes scissors and like... he takes scissors and like, I guess there's supposed to be a cut off screen.
Yeah.
And basically what they tell the actress is like, okay, put your head down and then we're going to move the camera to you and you're going to pick it up and it's going to be beautiful. And she literally picks her head up and we're like, no, I don't believe it. Her hair's beautiful. This doesn't work like this. She was just covered in gauze.
It was literally covered in gauze and goop. Like, no, this is not how this works. It looks freshly blow dried. Stop it.
She said she got a blowout.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like, oh, so I'm guessing the 7th kill gives you the blowout? Like, that's part of the 7th kill?
That was the only reason for the 7th kill, right? Was for the hairstyle, right? You just couldn't do it yourself. Okay.
I get the earrings as well. Fantastic.
Right. Okay, the whole getup. Got it.
And then Kyle's like, I'm going to explore this house and make sure it's empty. Kirsty eats him. Sorry, not Kirsty. Julia eats him.
Julia meets him
in the film.
Yeah, she meets him in the hallway. He's like, and she's like, oh, I didn't want you to scream. You know, it's terrible in that room. And he's like, I don't know who the fuck this lady is. He goes into her room. She closes the door behind him. He sees all the dead bodies, and he's just standing there. And she's like, isn't this terrible? And he's like, yeah, it is terrible. This is literally a conversation, everybody.
That is actually the whole conversation.
And she's like, it's okay. Was it come to mommy or something like that? And then she goes to kiss him, and then
she shoves her hand in his
neck.
But
like she says, come to mommy, and then I think she says, come to Julia. And he's like, okay, this is the bad lady. And I'm like, you didn't... Kyle's useless.
Kyle's dead.
Thank God.
And then Kirsty comes in and she's like, it's you. We're going to have a bitch off for a few minutes. And then we get our whole Snow White bullshit, and then Kirsty gets knocked out.
Yeah, she just gets slapped backhanded, and then the doctor brings in poor little Tiffany into this room.
And he's like, Tiffany, you're going to do this box. While Julia and I watch from behind a closet.
A hole in the wall is what it was. It wasn't even a closet. It was a hole in the wall with glass.
In the wall. And then we get okay. This felt like 4 minutes of just her solving a box.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. And I do have to say, I think it was hilarious that Tiffany was not fazed by anything. She was not fazed by the dead bodies that she was brought up to in the attic. She was not fazed by whatever was going on when she was solving the box. She's just like, wow, crazy. Wow. Oh, let me protect my eyes from like some debris. But other than that, I'm not going to scream or look or do anything. And then she gets up after solving the boxes and goes down the hallway.
Pinhead's the four Cenobites are like getting ready to kill her, and then like Pinhead's like, she doesn't desire us, so we don't fuck with that.
Yeah, she's basically an innocent.
It's not hands that call us; it's desire.
Yeah, I was like, that's a weird fucking sentence, but okay.
That's a choice of words. Those words in that order make a sentence. I can confirm.
There was a noun, subject, and a verb. I mean, it's just
somewhere in there. This sentence is going places and doing things. What exactly, we don't know. They end up in the shadow realm.
Banished to the shadow realm.
And cue what is now like the hour point of the movie we're in.
Oh yeah, it was only like a fucking hour at this point.
Cue 30 minutes of running in a maze room and 10 minutes of plot is what happens next.
Tiffany goes through...
Tiffany goes to, if any of you have ever seen Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, and where they end up at that carnival at the end, Tiffany goes there.
Yeah, she goes to a really, really... I think it looks even cheaper than an animated Cyber Chase movie. It's like cardboard cutouts, and then there's like a clown. And then I guess they're trying to be creepy, and then with the editing, I was just like... And I don't like clowns. I really don't like clowns. But this was not scary. I was just like, okay, where's this coming from?
While this is happening, Kirsty's yelling. And then eventually she shuts the fuck up because she goes to her mom's house. And then it's a trick. So she starts screaming again.
And then the camera spinny, spins.
Spins as she screams.
I cannot.
Tiffany walks out of the maze and into like the ether as Kirsty screams some more. Kirsty runs into our Cenobite friends, and they're like, she's like, I didn't call you. And they're like, and yet we always find each other. And I'm like, okay, yeah, creepy, I guess. And they're like, go, explore, have fun. And then Kirsty screams for a little bit longer.
They do say, and actually a line that I did enjoy, it was like, we have all eternity to explore your flesh or something like, or to experience your flesh or something like that. I was like, ooh, that's disgusting. I love it.
And then she screams.
Yeah. And runs.
More. And runs. And then she's in a circle. And then she turns around and Tiffany's there just like, bitch, I can hear you.
Bitch,
Jesus
please.
Christ.
Calm down. We just have to take a right and then a left and then another left. Like, relax. Do you not understand this?
This isn't even a puzzle. This is just like choosing the routes and then just choosing the opposite one when you end up being wrong. So they end up together. And the best part is like Tiffany, like Kirsty's holding Tiffany. She's like, we gotta get out of here. And you gotta solve the puzzle because you did the puzzle, so you have to solve the puzzle. And the entire time, Kirsty's just like looking at her. Like,
Tiffany's just looking at her.
Tiffany, yeah. Uh-huh.
She's like, right?
Do you understand me?
And she's just looking at her, and then she's like, okay. I'm like, all right.
You know what? Maybe you should be at this ward because, like, girl, you giving a lot of proof. While this is happening, the doctor and Julia are walking in the maze.
Oh, yeah.
They're walking, and then a box eats the doctor.
Right. Julia's basically like, psych, bitch, this is what you wanted the whole time, and I needed you so I can get out because it called for souls. And look, it's a pyramid thing, and it's called Leviathan, and this is the god of hell.
It's a box. It's a little diamond man. He's God.
With like void lights. And that's it.
He has beacons that spin around, and like that's his thing, I guess.
Yep. And so the doc is put in a box, and he's tortured, and he goes away for a little bit.
And then Kirsty's like, oh, "This is my dad's house. He must be in there."
Stop it!
She's like,
so
"If I'm not back incredibly soon, run away." And then she goes in, and then the Frank impersonator is here.
I mean, it's
and
actually him. It's just the voice sounds different.
Yeah, but the voice actor. His voice actor is different because they're like, ew, he's British. We gotta make him American. And he's like, these ladies, they're nothing but teases.
This scene, again, was way too long. It was about 4 minutes of these ladies on these marble slabs going in and out, writhing and moaning, all bloody under sheets, and then going away, and then coming back, and then going away.
You know what? Easiest payday for them.
Good point.
They were just like gyrate, and they're like, okay, I can do that. Yeah. And then we get the whole, I think I noted it because, like, in the book, it's supposed to be like, oh, he's like a sexual, like, god. And, like, they cut to him and Julia having sex in the movie, and I'm like, he's, like, one step above Frank, which is
no, one step above her
incredibly
dad.
boring.
Whatever.
Yes, one step above Larry.
Gary, whatever the fuck.
Gary, Larry, Derry. Either way, I'm like, that's one step above. Like, the scariest thing about, like, the most, like, exotic thing about him was that he had a knife. And you're like, ooh, is he gonna poke me while we fuck? It's crazy. Like, that's the craziest thing about him. And he also has, like, an ugly neck tattoo.
And then Frank's like, psych, Christy, it was me all along. You answered my call. That wasn't your dad before. It was me. And I was like, no way. I am so shocked.
And then Julia appears.
Yeah.
Magically. And she's like, I tear your heart out. And then she kills him.
Yeah, that's it.
And then Julia gets killed.
Does she at this point?
Well, yeah, she has to get killed, like, right after this because what's his name comes around? Tentacle Man.
Oh. Yeah, well, yeah, because, Kirsty and Tiffany are running down a hall, and they get sucked into the hall, and then Julia's skin rips off. Right? And then she gets sucked down the hall.
Yep.
That's it. That's what happened. That was really weird, but okay.
And then I look away for, I don't know how long, because time is an illusion with this movie, I guess. They're back in the ward now, I guess. That's how I remember it. I just looked away and I'm like, oh,
were they?
Maybe the movie's over?
Oh. Something happened. I don't fucking know. What else happened? Go ahead.
They go into the ward and everyone's doing the box.
Oh, yeah. All of the patients in the beds are doing the boxes and they're all, like, chained up. It's really sad. That's it.
And then the doctor comes and he's, like, floating with, like, a thing on his head.
Yeah. And he makes weird noises, and his little tentacles have knives and surgical thingies.
And then Tiffany says a word that I guess, like, opens up her vocabulary. Don't ask me how.
And we both were talking about how ridiculous this was, and we were like, wait, she said something. Wait, what was it? I'm like, you know what? Let's not rewind. Let's just get through this.
Let's not make this any longer than it needs to be. Even though I will acknowledge, while we watched this movie on Tubi, And right as like earlier in the movie, as the Doctor and Julia were like tongue lashing, we got an ad, and we were like, you know what?
Thank God.
Best ad ever.
I've never wished for an ad more. I was so happy to see something about the Dollar General. It was fantastic.
Let's speed run this ending because most of it's just them running in a maze. So they run and then eventually they run into the Cenobites, and she's like, "You were humans," and they're like, "Oh damn, you're right." And then the Doctor comes, and then the Doctor kills them
in one shot.
That's
everyone was killed in one shot, and then when they fall to the floor, they go back to their human selves, and then Pinhead is like looking at the girls and is like basically like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself so you can get out. And so the Doc kills Pinhead, and then he turns into his human self. And yeah.
And then you know what? Fuck it. Let's just skip to the ending.
Okay.
If I can't remember what the fuck's going on, I will skip it to the ending. Tiffany has a diamond box. The diamond lattice, I guess. I don't know. And she starts solving the box, and then the Doctor's like,
That's what he sounds like.
Oh, that's what he says. Yeah. And then he's like, I'm gonna kill this little girl. And she almost falls into a box, and then Julia turns up. But false, it's not Julia, it's Kirsty wearing Julia's skin. Okay. And she makes out with the Doctor, which I'm like, Kirsty, you know what? You took one for the team. You fucking made out with that thing.
It's so
Good
true.
on you, girl.
And
good on you.
I just want to say, every time the Doctor, since he turned into a monster, talked, he had a fucking line about like being a doctor. He's like, the session is in, or like, the doctor's in. Here's your prescription. Your case is closed. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Who is writing this?
That's a lawyer, actually, sir. That one's a lawyer. Don't use that one here.
I was so over the lines.
I was so disconnected. I didn't even acknowledge. Every time he talked, I just checked out because I was like, okay, it's gonna be him like gyrating for 20 seconds, and then eventually we'll continue the plot, I guess. The box gets closed, the tentacle gets ripped off his head, he dies, and then Tiffany's falling, and then Julia's like, trust me. And then her skin falls off. The skin falls off. and then
they run away.
You know, Kirsty's covered in blood and running away.
And then they go back.
They get out.
Yeah.
And the people who were dead in that room are still dead, I'll let you know. And they walk away happily ever after.
The end. Wait.
Actually, false. There's that whole thing where they go to clean up the Doctor's house. The guy gets sucked halfway into the bed, and then the fucking giant slab comes out.
Yeah. The giant slab was cool. All the stuff on the giant slab was cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then it finally ended.
Yep, that is the end of Hellraiser 2. 1 hour, 39 minutes.
Yep.
I have a question. How much of this movie was old, like previous movie exposition and running around?
70 to 80%.
I know, it's so bad.
Okay. We have bashed it enough. Let's do our movie roundup.
Let's bash it in the roundup.
Yep, let's do it. All right, here is the movie roundup for Hellraiser 2. Most of it was running around, very choppy editing in a bad way. The music was okay. Acting was subpar. Story was there, maybe. I was told that this was more about the Cenobites, and I was really more excited about that, but I feel like we got the same amount of screen time with the Cenobites as we did in the first film. And yeah, we got a tiny bit of backstory on Pinhead, like very minuscule, but I wanted more of that.
That's the most you're ever going to get.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Damn it.
That's literally his backstory.
God damn it. Well,
Unless you want to read the comic books.
yeah, I guess, but overall, I'm gonna give this a 2 out of 10. 2 because it was really gory. A lot of it we couldn't watch, and so those effects were really good in that way. I would score it higher because of that, but I can't just give it to the effects. The rest of the movie was a very big miss for me, unfortunately. How about you?
This movie is probably the first movie since I think Vacancy.
Ooh, I was
Remember
gonna
that
say
movie?
Vacancy too.
That I spent more time on the internet than actually watching the fucking movie. Because I was just like, I've seen enough movies, especially even if I never seen a movie before. I've seen enough movies with movie and a haunt. This is like what, episode 26 maybe? Like 26, 27? 27. This is 27. I've seen enough to know when a movie is gonna have like 90% inconsequential shit that's not even gonna matter to the plot whatsoever. I was able to piece that. The minute you start with a last time on Hellraiser, we have an issue. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do some research on some stuff, I guess, because I don't care. And then I was listening to the movie and like, it's so exposition heavy that I can listen to this movie and I'm like, I get it. Makes perfect sense. And then the stuff that isn't exposition heavy is so fucking gross to look at that like I'm not looking at it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I give this movie, I gotta make sure I rate it lower than Thanksgiving. Although I think I give Thanksgiving a 10 out of 10, so everything's lower than Thanksgiving. Oh, no, sorry, I gave it a 5 because the movie sucked, but turkey was great. I will give this one I'll give it a 3. 3 sounds nice.
Okay.
Well, that is going to do. We're not touching a haunt on
Oh,
this
thank
one. I'm telling you
God.
that
I was
much.
so worried that we were going to do a haunt.
We're going to do a major haunt at the end with all the movies, but
right.
this is going to be the one we skip.
No, we have to.
That does it
we
for
have
this
to
episode.
include Kirsty just running around screaming.
Those could be the transition rooms when you're in the darkness.
So that I'm sorry if you really do enjoy this movie. I wish we did too. Maybe we missed something. I don't know. I don't know.
Or maybe there's something wrong with you. Who knows?
That's very possible. We all know that's true. But please join us for Hellraiser 3 next.
Hell on Earth.
Literally
Where I
called
think
Hell
we're
on
in
Earth.
like Chicago or Boston or New York. Like we're in a city.
Okay, so we literally do Jason Goes to New York type of thing. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. We are on Spotify. We are also on YouTube. We release every other week, or at least try to.
There we go. I like that second part. That second part is we try to.
So yeah, thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, children.
People killed, not a sign of a